Tonight on Joy News Prime, Speaker of Parliament declares 2024 budget has not been approved, despite claims from the Finance Minister and the majority that the policy and economic statement had been approved after confusion rocked the House yesterday.
Votes and proceedings indicate to you that the question was put, and in the opinion of the Speaker, who was in the chair, the motion was agreed to.
We have details from Adan Parliament, where all majority MPs, except its leadership, boycotted the chamber. Now, still in Parliament tonight, no child should report to school. The Speaker of Parliament directs the Education Minister to reverse the decision for first-year SHS students to report to school on Monday, barely a week after school placement was announced. Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has declared the 2024 budget has not yet been approved and is still before the House. Now, confusion rocked the Parliament on Wednesday when the majority walked out on the budget approval process following a challenge filed by the minority on a voice vote to approve the statement. According to Alban Bagbin, the House will take a decision on the budget next week. Kweku Asante reports from Parliament.
The controversy over the 2024 budget approval process continued to linger on. More salt to the injury of the Finance Minister as Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin declares the budget is still before the House and has not been approved. In fact, today the majority MPs all but boycotted the House. It was only their leadership who were on the floor to do business. The first order of business for the minority was to get the Speaker of Parliament to pronounce on whether or not the budget had been approved or not.
Contrary to what we have here, that the voice vote was accordingly challenged, of which, Mr. Speaker, you upheld the challenge and called for a head count. The information out there, led by the minister responsible for finance, is that the budget has been approved. Mr. Speaker, this matter is grave, and there is the need for us to set the record straight.
The majority leader, Chairman Sabunsu, fought back.
The head count was sought by the deputy minority leader. The Speaker, that request is the one that is hanging, not the motion, not the decision. Mr. Speaker, people should understand. What is here is that the question was put and agreed to.
The Speaker of Parliament's decision was that the budget was still before the House and that a decision will be taken next week.
I direct that the Business Committee should reschedule the issue for next week for us to finally take a decision on the budget. The budget statement and economic policy of the government for the year 2024 is still before the House.
The NDC MPs wanted business to be done immediately. They wanted to vote on the budget before today's proceedings will be brought to a close. Ahmed Ibrahim is Deputy Minority Whip.
Clearly speaking, Mr. Speaker, as leadership of the House, we must account for our members to come and do business in the House. Mr. Speaker, we have time, we've been voted for, and we were voted for to come and do business on behalf of Ghanaians. And that is why we have come. Mr. Speaker, today is today, and the decision must be taken. You want the decision to be taken, the decision is on the other paper, and it must be taken today. We are ready for the decision today. And the decision must be taken now.
Obviously, this demand was not heeded to by the Speaker of Parliament, and the budget still hangs in the balance. The budget is still in limbo, and Ken Ofuriatta cannot draw on the consolidated fund until this process completely unravels itself in the House. As to when exactly this decision will be taken next week, it is not obvious, but there are even some suggestions it may be pushed to the latter part of next week, which is still going rub off very poorly on government, who really need this approval for committees in Parliament to start working on the estimates of the various MDAs. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
All right, now let's bring in, Dr. Rashid Rahman, who has a lot of experience studying the parliamentary process, for him to guide us through this controversy surrounding the budget. Doc, I'm grateful for joining us here. Now, you've heard the majority side say that the budget has been approved. The minority side say that is not true. The Speaker, in fact, has insisted that the budget has not been approved and is still before the House. How do we navigate this situation we find ourselves in? Hello,
Thank
Dr.
you very much.
Great.
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, I think let me say that, the budget process and the approval of the budget and financial policy of any government, I think is the most important duty that every parliamentarian around the world performs every year. What we are seeing is that our members of parliament are running away from this very important responsibility, an onerous responsibility that has been placed on them by Ghanaians. Right from day one of this 8th Parliament, we knew that instances like this were going to be very common. And I think the call was made over and over for some kind of bridge building, some kind of consensus. It looks as if both sides, as some of us have been saying over and over, are still behaving as if, we were living in times when they had, majorities in the House. It's very difficult to explain why at this time in our history, when every member of parliament should show up in the House, if for nothing at all, to take this effort to rescue our economy seriously. The minority whip put it, I think, very succinctly when he said, we've been elected to come and do business in this House. We are in the House, let's do business. Because look, if each side has the numbers, and if indeed our parliamentarians take this duty very seriously, what's the problem with the head count? There's no problem with the head count if you know you have the numbers. And what's the problem with the walkout? And when you show the cameras into the House today, I think it's quite disturbing. It's quite disturbing to see behind the majority leader and his, the leadership, the rest of the seats were empty. How do we explain that? If it's a boycott, we want to see a total boycott, a total walkout, but the leader is there and his followers were not there. How do we explain that?
But Doc, so what is happening? Because the majority are holding on to the Speaker's pronouncement that, yes, I think the ayes have it, which means that the budget has been approved in their contest. The Speaker also says the budget has still not been approved. So what is really happening? Because the majority is holding on to one leg, the Speaker is also holding on to one leg, just as the minority.
Well, I think that, look, let's be very honest with ourselves. We heard from the Speaker himself. Unless maybe they want to drag this to court, as we've seen before. And I think 2 budgets ago or so, we've seen this, eventually get to the courts. And it will be very unfortunate if Parliament allows the courts to get into this.
Okay.
I think, for me, what I think is both sides must mobilize their numbers. The Speaker has given them yet another lifeline. Mobilize their numbers, show up in Parliament. They just need a simple majority. Because look, we've seen instances in the past when there were doubts about the voice vote and a division, a head count was called for. Several occasions.
Okay.
I don't see anything wrong with this. And we have heard from the Speaker, the budget has not been passed according to him. Let the members show up in the House. Let them take their job seriously. And I would say any member who doesn't show up, take this budget process seriously. Citizens should vote them out.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us here. He is Executive Director of ASEPA. Well, still staying in Parliament, Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbing, is directing the Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, to reverse the decision for first-year SHS students to resume school next Monday, barely a week after the school placement was released. Now, the teacher unions have kicked against the decision, and there is pressure from Parliament for the managers of the education sector to reverse the course. More from the Speaker shortly. First, listen to Ranking Member on the Education Committee, Peter Nochu-Koto's statement that it did not make sense for students to report to school on Monday.
The West African Examinations Council, that's WAEC, released the results of the 2023 Basic Education Certificate Examination, BEC. Consequently, yesterday, the Ministry of Education released placement of some of the successful candidates and directed that these students resume school on Monday, 4th December 2023. Mr. Speaker, parents are yet to get the required materials and items that they need to buy for their awards. Also, there are a lot of placements that need to be remedied because of the fact that some of the candidates have been placed in schools outside the regions they reside. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, a few weeks ago, teacher unions have requested that there was the need for the GES, that's the Ghana Education Service, to grant them enough time to rest at the end of this year. Truth be told, Mr. Speaker, that since the introduction of the double-track system in 2018, both teaching and non-teaching staff in the senior high schools have not taken any rest. This is seriously affecting their health. It is therefore necessary to allow them some rest during this break to the end of the year. Mr. Speaker, many of the students will be traveling from far to their various schools and will only have to go back home 2 weeks after resumption for the Christmas break. It is therefore only appropriate that to avoid the risks and dangers associated with traveling during that festive period, that GES should reconsider their decisions of making students report on Monday, the 4th of December, for the first week of January 2024, to enable parents prepare financially for their awards and also the teachers to take some rest. And finally, for the school authorities to fumigate the dormitories and other facilities in readiness to accept the first-year students.
MP for North Tongue, Samuel Okujuta-Blacko, asked the GES and the Education Ministry to listen to the concerns shared by the teacher unions in the second cycle institutions.
This statement is so crucial, and I salute you, Mr. Speaker, for promptly admitting this statement. The Speaker, as we speak, all the teacher unions are up in arms. They are thoroughly, absolutely, and clearly, Mr. Speaker, opposed to this directive by the minister responsible for education. In their own words, this directive is going to totally throw the academic calendar into disarray. There is going to be confusion, chaos, and they are not even psychologically prepared. They have not rested. I heard the teacher union say that they have not even rested and prepared adequately for this new academic year with the freshers, who, Mr. Speaker, are still being placed. We are all receiving calls from constituents about the placement. The first batch was done only yesterday, and they are not done with the placements. There are still a number of students, a considerable number, who have not been placed, running into thousands from what we hear. And Mr. Speaker, the point must also be stressed that a good number of these secondary schools are far afield in other regions where these teenagers have never been to.
Well, the Speaker appealed to the Education Minister to reverse course. The Speaker has directed that the public statement be released by Parliament, directing that the Minister comply with the appeal and reschedule the resumption to January next year.
I want to, on your behalf, direct the Media Relations Department to issue a statement along this line immediately. The attention of Parliament has been drawn to the sudden directive of the Ministry of Education for the resumption of academic year coming Monday, 4th December 2023. The House calls on and urges the Minister of Education to reconsider the directive by the Ministry of Education to students and authorities, including teaching and non-teaching staff, to resume academic work on Monday, 4th December 2023. The House proposes for the consideration of the Ministry the first week of January 2023 for the resumption of academic work in these schools. The Minister of Education is directed to thereafter report to brief the House on Monday, 4th December 2023 on the matter. The House further calls on parents, teachers, non-teaching staff, and students to keep calm until the matter is resolved by the House. This should be the contents of the release.
Well, we have on the phone line Kwesi Kwarteng, who is PRO for the Education Ministry. Kwesi, grateful for joining us here. Now, you've listened to the concerns coming in from Parliament. Is the Ministry hearing or giving an ear to this directive? Kwesi, grateful for joining us here. I want to find out from you whether the Ministry is listening to this directive from the Speaker.
Yes, listeners. Education, of course, has said this, and then we do a speech that largely we will look at the that placement results were released and the time that students may have to go to school. It looks short, but of course, if you recall, the academic calendar has already been within the public space for some time now. And the natural expectation was that we do prepare even ahead of time. Mm-hmm. But of course, ordinarily, I mean, we may have some genuine concerns where parents, in attempt of, raising the their financial capability to be able to acquire items on the prospectus will require more time. I'm sure it is the more reason why this time around, the Ministry of Education, under the innovation of the Minister of Education, Dr. Zebitum, do the national prospectus. So previously, you have students, after the release of the placement results, using about, let's say, a week to go to the school, get their prospectus, come back, raise money to prepare and purchase this item before they go to school. This time around, students do not have to travel to their schools before they are able to even get their prospectus because it's already attached to their placement. Essentially, that 1 week or almost 10 days that students may have to use to prepare has been taken up just by the novel introduction of the National Comprehensive Prospectus. So yes, on the face value, it may look like the time is short, but if you look at almost a week or 2 weeks for preparation with regard to different prospectus and other things have been taken off by the introduction of the National Prospectus against the backdrop that even the academic calendar was already in the public.
But Kwesi, there are also concerns from the teacher unions about. But I want us to go there. That there are concerns from the teacher unions about stress. I mean, they need time to rest, and they are just about continuing. So, is the ministry also considering that? You've done your bit about the prospectus. What about the teachers' welfare?
Yes, of course. I mean, teachers' welfare will always be paramount, and at every point in any decision making, you will expect that you get the contribution of teachers before you come out with such a calendar. I mean, bottom line is that you remember after COVID, we all have to try to harmonize the calendar to get back to normalcy. So at every point, whatever decision that we GS are taking with regards to the academic calendar has been with the consultation of the teacher union. So I mean, personally, I was quite surprised to see that a pressure was out, which I did not think with what area had been agreed on. Even the decision to bring the academic calendar out was done in consultation with the teacher unions. And I find that a bit surprising. But of course, their concerns are very legitimate.
Okay, so Kwesi, the students are supposed to report to school on Monday. The teachers have voiced their concerns. Parliament is also speaking. Are they going to school on Monday or not?
You see, you have to take it from this perspective that if you look into Monday, ordinarily, we take this opportunity to even assure parents that the fact that you do not report on Monday does not mean that you are going to lose your slot for the school. Because if you look at
okay, so Kwesi, the question is that are the students going to school on Monday? Should they go or not?
The directive from the Ministry of Education is and has always been, as indicated on their placement results, that reopening and the academic calendar that has already been issued out, that reopening remains on the 4th of December. Yes, Monday they are going to, but they are saying that it is not as though if you do not go, you are going to lose your slot.
Okay.
People will have to go acclimatize.
All right.
Begin registration process, get their textbooks.
All right, Kwesi.
Get themselves ready for the academic process. So yes,
thank you very much. I'm grateful to you, Kwesi Kwarteng, for joining us. He speaks for the Ministry of Education there. Now, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says his government has created 2.1 million jobs in its 7 years in office. According to the Vice President, this is the highest any government has achieved in the Fourth Republic. Speaking at the 2023 Youth Start Grant Expo in Accra, Dr. Bawumia says this is in fulfillment of the government's promise to reduce unemployment.
Notwithstanding the global economic challenge, major global economic disruptions that have taken place with regard to COVID-19 that many of you have talked about and its implications on businesses, as well as the Russia-Ukraine war. Notwithstanding these global challenges, our government over the last 7 years has created 2.1 million jobs. This is the highest number of jobs created by any government since the Fourth Republic, and probably since independence over this period. No government in the Fourth Republic has created this number of jobs in this period. notwithstanding, and all of this is under very trying circumstances since 2020. And you can imagine if the global economic environment were benign, not facing all of these shocks, you can see that we would have even done more than the 2.1 million jobs that we have done. But this is not enough. We've done 2.1 million jobs, more than any other government that has come before, but it is not enough.
He said a total of 100 million cedis will be distributed among 3,000 youth start beneficiaries by end of 2023.
September 2023, the government, through the Ghana Enterprises Agency, approved over 35 million Ghana cedis to 272 MSMEs under various components of the Ghana Economic Transformation Project. Also, between September 2021 and August 2022, the government supported over 780 firms with grant funding of over 65 million Ghana cedis under the GETP. I am happy to announce that the government of Ghana, through the Ghana Jobs and Skills Project and the Ghana Economic Transformation Project, will award grant support of almost 65 million Ghana cedis to 3,000 startups and MSMEs gathered here. With the total support to beneficiaries in 2023 alone totaling 100 million Ghana cedis. This is just for 2023 alone. It is also important to note that a special grant package has been designed to support and empower persons with disabilities. But there is more for the future. More entrepreneurs and more startups and established enterprises are expected to receive grant funding in 2024 under the You Start initiative. By the end of these two projects, the government will have supported more than 50,000 startups and MSMEs with technical and financial support through the Ghana Enterprises Agency.
Moving on, a group calling itself the Association of Community Chiefs of Adan Traditional Area have accused the Member of Parliament for Adan Comfort, Doye Gansa, of fueling recent disturbances over salt mining activities in the Songo Lagoon. On Monday, November 6, 2023, salt miners of Toflopo and Salom in the Adan West District clashed with some staff of a private salt mining firm, Electrochem Ghana Limited, over a salt mining concession which allegedly led to the death of a 47-year-old Quality woman. But speaking at a press conference in Adan today, the Association of Community Chiefs of Adan Traditional Area blamed the disturbances on the actions and inactions of the MP, Comfort Doye Gansa. My colleague Carlos Caloni was at the press conference and our reports.
The group, Association of Community Chiefs of Adan Traditional Area, have been expressing their disgust over the actions and inactions of certain personalities in the Adan Traditional Area that they believe are thwarting the developmental agenda being championed through the investment made by Electrochem Ghana Limited. Speaking at a press conference on Thursday, November 30, 2023, spokesperson for the group, Nene Damesewu II, blamed the recent Songo Lagoon disturbances on the MP of Adan East, Comfort Doyo Gansa, accusing her of undermining the traditional governance system in Adan.
We also want to sound a word of caution to Honorable Comfort Doyo Kujo, Member of Parliament for Adan constituency. On several occasions, she has spoken about issues of Adan on national platform, especially in Parliament, without even consulting the Traditional Council for clarity or deliberations. A classic example is the lease of the Adan Songo concession. We can say she is contributor to the uproar in Adan because she misinformed the good people of Adan through a local radio station and other political platforms during the 2020 election nearing campaign by stating that the current government, together with the Adan Traditional Council, have sold the Songo Lagoon to Electrochem, and that the people should vote her party into power in order for them to retrieve the lagoon for the people of Adan. We emphatically say that these actions and inactions undermine the traditional governance system in the Adan state.
Apart from the MP, Nene Dame also cautioned the leaders of salt mining group known as Adan Songo Lagu Association, ASLA, to stop presenting themselves as the mouthpiece of the people of Adan.
We will not tolerate the parochial interests of ASLA at the expense of development. We want to let them know that they must identify and label themselves properly as operators of Achiapo or illegal miners, and not the mouthpiece of the Adali.
Meanwhile, the Association of Adan Community Chiefs has rendered an unqualified apology to the management of Electrochem Ghana Limited, but has asked the security services to thoroughly investigate the recent disturbances.
We wish to use this opportunity to express our deepest condolence to the bereaved family. We want to also sympathize with Electrochem and render an unqualified apology on behalf of our people whose actions have caused the company this financial and reputational damage. On this note, we urge the security agencies to conduct thorough investigation into the matter and bring perpetrators of the above-mentioned acts to book and let the laws of the land take its course.
As you're watching the Joy News Prime, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Do stay with us. There's the showbiz now, and Jackie is here. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm good.
What do we have?
Okay, well, last night, Ghana Tourism Authority had their 50th anniversary. Well, 25 stakeholders in the tourism sector have received various awards at this year's edition of the National Tourism Awards. Now, the program was held at the Accra International Conference Center, also marked the 50th anniversary, dubbed the Honorary Edition. Now, the awards ceremony appreciated the sterling contributions of people in the tourism sector. My colleague Kwame Dazi has more.
It was a night of arts, culture and entertainment when stakeholders of the tourism value chain met last night for the 2023 edition of the National Tourism Awards. Various awards were presented to people in areas like tourism investment, arts, tour guiding, tour operation and academia. The Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture, Dr. Mohammed Awar, in his address, charged players in the tourism ecosystem to pay critical attention to customer service.
The surveys that have been done over the last 1 year, poor customer service is our biggest problem in this country. Not just hospitality and tourism, it's across. But we are very, very important in terms of bringing tourists to the country, within and outside. I therefore want to urge hotel owners, restaurant owners, hospitality owners, everybody, tour operators, everybody in the tourism value chain, please wage a war on poor customer service. And GTA, please, next year, you must work together with the private sector to make sure that we improve customer care.
There were musical performances by Namanwa of Wulomefe, Kechi Kwame Apia, Ochiame Kwame, and Samini. The highlight of the event was the moment the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwasi Agyeman, was honored for his hard work and dedication towards tourism development in Ghana.
Minister Special Award to Mr. Akwasi Agyeman, CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority, for exemplary leadership in the tourism industry.
For Joy News, Kwame Dazi reporting.
All right. Now, we all thought music lyrics were just words that shouldn't get us into trouble. Well, Young Thug is in trouble for his. Over the years, we've had rappers who've had their lyrics used against them in the court of law. Well, the latest on trial with his lyrics used as evidence against him is Young Thug. Now, Young Thug's trial commenced, and Georgia prosecutors allege that the Grammy winner functions as the leader of a criminal gang. Well. Throwback Thursday.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite moves way back? Like
cracking.
Are you sure you can do that?
Yeah, I used to do it. I mean, like you start from here and you go.
Hey, go to
like, you know, then it gas out.
I see. Yeah. Well,
I mean, but I used to do a lot of things.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm surprised there. But let's cast our minds back to 21 years ago when a viral song was released by the late Terence Nee Okan Ajete. He was Ghana's Michael Jackson. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Well, yeah.
Okay, so I'm told you yourself, you were not born during that time.
Oh, I was.
You were?
I was. It looks like you're just trying to throw me under the bus.
Anyway, so on that note, when Jackie wasn't born during that time, we say thank you for being a part of us. Remember to brush your teeth with Pepsodent, because with Pepsodent, every smile matters.